Good day. Welcome to the OFFSITE
INSIGHT
Podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dave. Today we are brought to you by, in partnership with the Creative Co-op, Advertising and Design. If you need anything done, talk to Gino and the team at tcco.ca.
Well, we're fortunate to have SHAK Edwards, the founder of SHAK's World in downtown Barrie, here with us today. And we're looking forward to an enlightening conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in, SHAK. For our listeners who may not know you yet, who is SHAK and what is SHAK's World?
Well, thanks for having me, guys, first and foremost. I'm really excited for this conversation. SHAK stands for Stay Humble and Kind. It's a philosophy that I've lived by since I was in high school. It's kind of just a character philosophy, I guess.
Yeah.
And it also streamlines into what we do at SHAK's World. So we are a nonprofit organization located in downtown Barrie. We work with youth all over the community to build successful, respectful athletes and community members through mentorship, sports. We've got drop-in programs and community initiatives.
Fantastic. I mean, I come from a sports family and I appreciate everything that athletics and sports can provide to the foundation of a child, myself included, and I've got 4 young ones, so I think it's really valuable. So kudos to you. Can you tell me a little bit more of how you integrate sports into the community part?
Absolutely. So prior to having our brick and mortar at SHAK's World Community Center, we actually traveled and did life skills and basketball all together. We used to have a tournament once a year that was called Cure Courts, Awareness for Youth Mental Health. And what we would do is we'd get kids together to play basketball, but half the day was very education based. It was a lot of connecting with community liaisons, businesses, and organizations that were interested in the development of our youth. So they'd sit there for half the day, learn all about where our resources are, and then they'd play basketball for the second half of the day. Now that we've got our programs running, we've kind of integrated everything where there's lots of life skills like respect, discipline, accountability, integrity, all wrapped into the way that we deliver our programs.
Fantastic.
That's amazing, yeah.
I won't get into it, but I always think of like the challenges that the professionalization of youth sports, especially if you have like competitive sports, takes away from the life lessons that you're actually trying to get these kids to learn. So I'll digress, but I think that's the right attitude. Like, I think that's the right way to bring sports to kids.
Don't digress. Let's talk about
I'm just we don't have to get into it because it's a whole topic on its own. However, when I first started SHAK's World, I went to a keynote presentation where a gentleman named Courtney Charles was, and he's the the president of player development for the Raptors at that time. Cool. And one of the things that he told me, because I had brought, I think, like 6 kids down with me, and I was young and tenacious, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And he said that when professional coaches and organizations are looking for athletes, they're actually looking for talent last. So it's character, it's intelligence, and then it's talent. Yeah. Right now, we're skipping over the character. We're skipping over the fact that you have to be a student athlete in order to get to
wherever you want to
go. So I totally agree with that. We need to build that foundation prior to professionalizing kids' sports.
Yeah, I find that it makes it so restrictive. The cost of youth sports today is like astronomical. Whatever sport it is, growing up, soccer used to be affordable, basketball used to be affordable. If I talk to parents all the time, it's like, no, it's $2,000, it's $1,500 for the jerseys, it's this, and it makes it hard for families to use sport as a way to develop that character and the accountability that you get from it.
And that's where SHAK's World comes in.
Fantastic. I love that. As you can tell, I'm passionate about it. I coach youth hockey myself, and I try to instill into the kids, like, first off, we're athletes first. We're not hockey players. So go play other sports. I think it's really important to play other sports. And it's all about the thing, like I tell the kids all the time, I care more about what you're doing off the ice than what you do on the ice. We're going to make mistakes on the ice, but let's be respectful of the facilities that we're in, the people we're talking to, our opponents, the officials, the parents. to me, like that's what the point of sports is, right?
Yeah, that's what makes you memorable as an athlete too.
Right.
I love this. I was never a sports person. I was a big nerd, but I spent a lot of time reading books on philosophy and studying ethics in school and things like that. I couldn't agree more. It's developing virtue in our youth is critically important to the future of our community. That's what this podcast is all about: is building a community that can sustain into the future and do good. And I think Shak's World has become something of an edifice at that. It's at the heart of our city, and at such a location, it brings all sorts of warmth. Anyways, I have the benefit of hearing about this all the time, but I'd love to hear more. And I understand there are many programs offered at Shak's World. It's not solely surrounded or about sports. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so when we got into the facility, one of the things that we were very aware of in our community, because over years of trying to cultivate the program that we've got, we realized that there were huge gaps. Right. So I grew up in Simcoe County, and one of the things that was always missing was a youth center. Right. I remember being a teenager and just having nowhere to hang out, even being a young child and being like, where do we go other than like the park, you know? So when we decided to move into the facility, it was really about creating a space where youth knew that this was their space. Cool. So we've been very intentional about maintaining that this is a youth facility and everything we offer. So we've done things like our most popular programs are cooking programs. They're to teach about not only nutrition, but also just like making food on a budget so that kids after school know how to make themselves a snack, you know? We have our art program, we've had homework clubs, we've got chess club, we had dance club at one point, we had girls self-defense. Like we have done whatever we can to kind of create, again, that space where it's almost like that wraparound service where if youth need a place to go, they also don't have to participate in programs. We've got a drop-in where they can just hang out. Yeah. We've got high school students that come in with their laptops and watch Netflix on our couches. Like, it's just a safe space. Yeah. We've also created relationships with organizations like New Path and CMHA, where we can offer counseling and peer support groups to youth who just want somewhere to go to talk to like-minded people or gather resources on how they can sustain a positive mental attitude.
I think that's incredible and so important. Do you think that youth of today have additional challenges that maybe the three of us didn't face for when we were younger? And maybe you can expand on that and what different challenges and what different helps and supports Shak's World can help with that.
Yeah, I think that there are a plethora of challenges that youth today have that we didn't. I mean, one of the biggest ones is social media, as we know, being so consumed by what goes on online and almost not even having the opportunity to develop your own character before you start emulating these idols and individuals that you find online. That creates dissonance in their everyday life, which leads to, depression, anxiety. We've got lots of social anxiety, youth that come in with social anxiety. So again, we try to create a safe space where there's something for everyone. A lot of youth have come into our building thinking that they know what they want and they're passionate about something, but they might stumble across something else and realize, like, wait a minute, I didn't even think of this, or I didn't think of this as an option. And it's really nice to see that light bulb go off for them. So I would say that that's one challenge. The other challenge is the fact that they're not spending as much time outside makes it so that a lot of youth aren't grounded in I am a very spiritual person, so I would say grounded in themselves, which makes it difficult for them to create connections and relationships and connect to community. So what we do is we have a very diverse group of staff and volunteers. So youth typically gravitate to the person that they connect with the most. And by creating that connection and being a physical space, creating that consistency has changed the game for them because they always know where to find us.
Yeah.
You know, and we try to pick people that we know are going to be long-lasting members of SHAK's World when we're thinking about our volunteer staff or our paid staff, and so that when kids do come back, they know that that person is there for them,
there.
right? So I would say that those are some of the challenges that they're facing, and those are some of the things that we've been able to do to kind of break the surface with them. And then when they show up consistently, a lot of the kids that have started coming in at a young age typically come back to volunteer when they're in high school. So we've been around now for, we're in our 6th year. We won't be 6 until November. But we have had kids go through our basketball program that have come back and now coach our basketball program. And I feel like that is a demonstration of the community that we're building and the safe space that we're building, and just that what's the continuation of access.
Yeah,
so.
the positive momentum is still going.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You've got people that have been in the programs, found so much value that they want to come back and give back.
Yeah.
And that comes back to SHAK, stay humble and kind. Like they seem to be living that.
That's the whole idea.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Very cool. If we bring it back to like the home builders and like the developers, do you think that our industry appropriately values community hubs? And if so, is there any way we can do better at it? Because when I'm thinking of like, we look at plans of subdivisions, we look at, community planning, do we put enough emphasis and value on these shared spaces that you've taken upon yourself to build or to create? Do you think that the Home Builders Association can do a better job at advocating for that type of space?
What I have noticed more recently is a focus on wellness hubs within developments. So we're seeing more in condo buildings, for example, you're seeing a lot more gym space so people can work on their physical wellness. Yeah. You're seeing more meditation spaces so people can work on their spiritual wellness. But when it comes to subdivisions and developments in that aspect, you're not seeing community spaces. Right. So an example that I can think of is there are in lower income communities, there's often like a hub in the middle that's like a space that people can rent to do birthday parties or like to hang out, right? That is on a small scale what would be ideal in larger communities, where when building subdivisions, there are those spaces that's like has that access to a gymnasium where kids can go to participate in sports, because sports are expensive. But imagine a family looking for somewhere to purchase a home, knowing that, this subdivision comes with a community center. Yeah. My kids can go there after school, hang out with all the other kids. Parents feel safe because they're not too far from home. So are they focusing on these spaces? I think we're getting there because we do have the wellness spaces happening. We do have the spiritual spaces and the saunas but the space of gathering, I think we've gotten away from that. And there are countless reasons why, right? The past 5 years have been just recovering from our social distancing. But I would say builders should start really thinking about how they could create those community spaces for families to gather and subdivisions to bring that feeling of connection back.
Well, if let's say hypothetically it's economically unfeasible, because sometimes we give developers a bad rap and say you should really be doing more for the community, and they say something like, well, we have to make a profit on the project or else we're out of business, right? And so if that's the case, then that there's still an opportunity for such interests to contribute to the community through places like SHAK's World, right? So I guess on that note, how would a community member donate or contribute or assist you in your project?
So I'm gonna I'm going to wrap this all together in a little bow. I'm going to try my best. Okay. So I totally understand the need to generate a profit and how developers have to think about their bottom line at the end of the day. Totally get it. But there are other ways that they can encourage their community to be a part of community. I remember, again, going back to when I was a kid, this was before I was in Simcoe County. I was like really young. And there was a bus that used to come around to my neighborhood and pick the kids up and bring them to the community center because there was no space to gather. So they'd come around, they'd pick the kids up, and they'd drive them to the community center. We'd be there for hours with kids from all over the city. And I think that when thinking innovatively about how we can incorporate those types of subdivisions or communities, it's how can we, if we can't build one in that community, how do we support the organizations and the spaces that are already happening by getting the kids there, right? So something like transporting them, school buses are very expensive, but if we have like 5, 6, 7 developers that are interested in making sure that these families have access, then it's just a bus for kids to jump on and go to like after school program, right? The other thing is directly connecting with organizations like Shak's World, where we're always looking for philanthropists, business owners, corporations, organizations that are like-minded, that want to see the growth of our future youth. And we're always open and malleable when it comes to what that looks like and how we do that. So sponsorships are amazing. Using your platforms kind of like this to get us out there so more people know what we do. And overall, just connecting with us, connecting us to people who want to see. I'm trying not to be corny here, guys. Okay, because I'm like kids are the future, right? Like if we're thinking about our like support the future of our community, and like when I think about what's happening right now, there's a lot of reactive. There's a lot of reactive responses to what's going on in the community, but Shak's World is more of a proactive response, right? Like if people got in on youth right now, our youngest program is 3 years old. If we got in at that level, we're building a foundation for these kids where we won't see some of the issues that we have right now. Right? So that would be my whole thing. And children of the future.
Absolutely, they absolutely are. Do you receive a lot of support from the community?
Not really. This year, we're hoping to do more outreach and connecting with community. The past 5 years, I'd say, has been very much grassroots. We were a small organization, and we expanded extremely quickly when we took on our facility, because our facility is 15,000 square feet. So you can imagine that the past few years have been like very crazy.
Breathe. Take some time to breathe. Here we go.
Yeah, very crazy. But we really have put ourselves in a position where we're ready to take on larger partnerships and start to put ourselves out there and create almost these streamlines that allow for more kids to access our facility. And in order for us to continue to offer our programming at low to no cost, it will take a community. So when you're on our website, it says it takes a village to raise a child and a community to raise a teenager, right? Like it really, for the next, 5-10 years, it's really about creating those relationships that are going to be sustainable long term, so that the programs that we offer, we don't have to take away.
Right, absolutely. What a fantastic story that you've brought to us today, Shak. Just, it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and we're very fortunate that, I can support my kids going into sports, and I try to make sure that they're getting the right lessons out of it. Like, my kids aren't going to play in the NHL. Sorry if you're listening, guys. But there's so many life lessons.
I wish there were more parents like you.
There's so many life lessons to take out of sports that have nothing to do with the game that you're playing, whether it's hockey or basketball or soccer or lacrosse. It's the skills that you're getting, because the way that I think about it is sports are a great way. It could be disc golf for our disc golf players. the skills that you learn have nothing to do with the actual sport. It's discipline, it's teamwork, it's responsibility, it's respect. All these things that you're trying to encapsulate in Shaq's world is what I've tried to take out of sports and try to pass that on to the next generation.
Yeah, and one of the big things today, and what we've slowed down on, is communication.
Yeah.
So we try to implement communication into a lot of our programming because kids they don't have the same level of understanding as they used to. So sports is a great way to just teach them about language and asking for what they want. And it's been a catalyst for me in my life. I've played sports since I was 5 years old. And to your point from earlier, I played every sport up until I had to decide what sport was the sport. Yeah. But through all of these sports, you learn, you meet people. I know some of my best friends that have become like family to me, I met playing basketball as a kid, and we're all still like sisters, right? So those are the kind of relationships that sports build, and unfortunately, because of social media, we're missing out on those connections, and kids aren't making those really deep-seated relationships anymore. So it's really, it all connects at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've taken the right approach to start at the ground level, right? At 3 years old, and there's so much research that goes into like how important those preschool years are for like the development of a fully functioning adult. So
emotional regulation.
Yeah. I'm not great at it, but I'm working on it.
Well, look, David, it started when you were 3 years old.
Well, Shaq, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your own personal journey and how you got to the place that you are, if you're willing to share.
Yeah. I guess I mentioned I started playing basketball very young. I think I picked up my first basketball when I was like 5 years old. And I immediately fell in love with the game. And through my journey, the one thing that's been consistent for me is sports. And I've encountered a lot of challenges, lots of trials, tribulations as a teenager, struggling with depression, not really knowing where my resources were, but knowing that, you know, if I go to the gym and I shoot around, I'll feel a little bit better. Yeah. You know, I have practice tonight. I get to see like some of my favorite people. And when you play sports, again, you're connecting with people all over your community that are like-minded. So as a young person, I was seeing people that weren't a part of my everyday life, right? So my teammates, they all went to different schools, but then at that time we got together, we played, and it brought me this sense of solace. And so through basketball, I realized that it was so much more than just a game. I was really good at it. I loved it. But I realized that there was something more there. My coach at the time, he knew I didn't have a great home life. So he offered me a handful of opportunities. He let me coach. So I started coaching house league when I was like 13 years old. He let me scorekeep and convene at tournaments all over the city. He'd pick me up at like 6 a.m., drop me off at a gym. He's like, this is your gym for the day. And I'd be there for like hours, 12 hours, watching basketball game after basketball game, creating relationships with coaches and players and parents. And I was only like 14. This was what I did through high school to pay my way to play basketball. Amazing. Like I couldn't figure out how else really to make it work. Yeah. So he gave me these opportunities. And again, it taught me like responsibility, respect, accountability. I had to show up whether I wanted to or not. No matter how tired I was, I had to show up. And so that was like a really impactful piece of who I am today. And so now you'll notice I always show up. But as I went through my teen years and I continued to play basketball, it was like the only thing I could fall back on, which also brought me to realizing that there were no resources, because as I went through this depression, the only thing keeping me afloat really was basketball, was playing after school. I played on the school team, and that was really it. I didn't party. I didn't I didn't do anything outside of sports. And then when I talked about picking my sport, it was in grade 10 that I went from my 3 main sports, which were soccer, volleyball, and basketball, to just basketball. Because at that point I had made Team Ontario, so you have to now decide. Yeah. And I was going to start rugby that year. I remember my coach was like, "You're done. forget all the other sports. This is the one." Yeah. And so I realized there was no resources in the community. And then I was about 18 years old when I had the idea of running Shak's World. Up until then, I was, like I said, I was coaching house league, but I had also implemented some of my own camps. So I was coaching basketball camps under my own umbrella. Yeah. And because of the years that I had put in and the people that knew me and got to see me almost grow into this player, they trusted me. They trusted me with their kids. They trusted me to create this safe space in the gym for them and also teach them the fundamentals and the values that basketball has to offer. So I did that in college, and then I came home and Shak's World was born. I registered and I started traveling. Because I ran that camp when I was in college, I connected with other colleges, so I was able to go to different colleges for like a week at a time and do like a 1-week camp in Brampton and Kingston, and so I feel like I had at some point I had an epiphany that basketball was going to be,
this is it.
Yeah, it was going to be, whether I was playing professionally or I was just in the background providing this opportunity, this is what I was going to use as my catalyst to create change in communities and impact youth all over, like globally. Yeah. So through basketball, I've been able to travel. I've coached the national team in Trinidad. I've had kids from Trinidad in Canada. Amazing. So like we've done an exchange program and we've done Shak's World, which is my biggest accomplishment. I played in China for a little bit. I played professional basketball, and through it all, it felt like there was something bigger there. And so as much as I love our basketball program and what it offers, it's so much bigger than just the game, which is why going into the facility, we opened up all of these programs. Yeah. Because I understand not everyone's a sports person. Right. We've got kids that love art.
Absolutely.
Kids that love chess club. Yeah. And you know what? And I want it to be safe for all of them, and I want them all to know that there is a resource that they can lean on, and if they need to be connected, we're there for them. So that's in a nutshell how we got here. Yeah.
What a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. And Dave and our listeners, all 4 of them. I just would like you to remind everyone, how do we help you? How do we help Shak's World? How do we stay humble and kind ourselves? And where do we go to reach out?
So so if you want to put your kids in our program, our website is the best place to go. Awesome. www.shaksworld.org. We also take donations. So something that nobody knows yet, guys, this is big news, is we're in the process of getting our charitable status.
Fantastic.
So we should have that in the next couple weeks. Amazing. And once we have that, we can give out tax receipts under our own organization. Fantastic. Right now, we lean on another organization to provide tax receipts. So until then, you can still donate. You can still get a tax receipt. But soon, Stay Humble and Kind Foundation will be its own. And I'm really excited for that next step. So to support Shak's World, you can visit us on site, 59 Maple Avenue. Visit our website. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Shak's World everywhere. Yeah, and that's it. Donate, get us a school bus.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in today, Shak. We'd love to have you back and hear more about Shak's World and your continued prosperity and your mission here in the community, making it more virtuous and better over time. So we really appreciate you and everything that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you, guys. This was great.
All right. Well, if you'd like to join the podcast as a guest, reach out to us at podcast@schba.ca.
Well done. That was really good.
That
Yeah.
time.